Now, to introduce Josh Mann. Josh, come on down here and talk about the Santa Clarita Economic Development Corporation.
Thank you, Alan, for having me. Appreciate it. For me, this is a good place to be. This is more of what I used to do in terms of going out and talking with community groups. So it's good to be out of the office and talking to real people about the development of their community. Here on behalf of the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Corporation, my apologies on behalf of Jonas Peterson, who is our president and CEO. He had a conflicting meeting this evening, so I'm here in his stead, and hopefully I do a decent job. I've really come before you today to share a little bit about what we do. Many people are still not fully aware of the EDC's existence, and certainly probably not as up to date as we need to be making people in terms of what we're working on. The idea of the EDC has been in the works for a few years. In fact, I think the inception of the organization is coming on about 2 years of age, and it really represents the first public-private partnership between both government and private industry coming together in terms of attracting new businesses to the area and helping those that are here grow, thrive, and succeed. Got to hand it to the leadership that runs the EDC in terms of our board of directors. You're probably familiar with Bill Kennedy, who has served on many community organizations and has been a great leader for many projects here in the Valley, as well as Don Fleming, who is the other co-chair this year. Many of you know Don, a very generous man with both his time and his resources, and they, along with the rest of our board, which is growing at a pretty good rate at this point, are really leading the organization into really getting to those activities that are going to benefit the community as a whole. Many of you are probably wondering, all right, so I understand what the Chamber does, and I understand what the Valley Industry Association does, and I understand what College of the Canyons does, and I understand what the city does, and for the most part I understand what goes on at the county, so where does the EDC fit in all this? Well, the Economic Development Corporation is really a partnership of all those other organizations in terms of the functions that we provide to the community. It helps to leverage the resources that are here, leverage the brain power that's here, and really start thinking about things on a valley-wide level, which is something that we really haven't seen so much from a standpoint of working with the business community. Some of the things that the EDC has been tasked to undertake as part of our mission, we are a community marketer. In terms of, we do have a small portion of our budget that's devoted to marketing the Santa Clarita Valley community to communities outside of the area in terms of our business attraction efforts and working on creating economic activity and bringing new jobs and new investment to the area. Probably our main focus, and one you'll probably hear the most about, is our business attraction. If there is one thing that I think we can all agree upon, that the mantra right now, regardless of where you come from, is create jobs, create jobs, create jobs. And this will be the first time that we have a valley-wide concerted effort in terms of attracting new businesses to the area. It's important to help offset. We have a lot of empty space, commercial space, whether it be retail or office or industrial space on the market, that we would love to get businesses into and hiring people and creating economic activity. And that's what we're tasked with in terms of identifying who those companies might be, who is going to have the greatest potential of success, going out and selling that community to those companies and bringing them here and creating those jobs. The second part of kind of that coin is business retention. We have a lot of really talented and amazing companies located right here in the Santa Clarita Valley already. And so what we as an EDC tried to do is go out and meet directly with the decision makers in those companies and figure out if there's ways that we can help improve their business so they can hire more people, they can invest more in the community and be more successful. And there are a number of ways that we do that, and I will talk a little bit about that later. We also have a great portion of our time is developing good economic information and statistics about our region. It's really hard to be effective in attracting new businesses to the area if you can't tell them the story of success that already exists here. And so it is something that we've been tasked with in terms of collecting the data about what kind of companies are here, what kind of employment opportunities are here, what are the skill sets, what are the trained employee base look like, and then translating that all into easy to read and widely distributed documents that can be used for both business attraction as well as data that we can use to share with our community about our community. Some of this also relates to this distribution of good information community-wide. A great example of that was today we had a free healthcare seminar. We've got a lot of businesses that are very, very concerned about the changes in healthcare legislation, and so we held a free seminar that brought some of the brightest minds that are out there in terms of expertise about the changes in healthcare legislation, and we had about 40 business owners and business managers that were in attendance, and they were able to get really that instant feedback in terms of what their concerns were about the changes. If there's one thing that I could convey to you guys is that coming from the Antelope Valley, I've seen how bad things can get in terms of this economic downturn. I worked in a community that had 2 times, if not more, the level of unemployment, a real stagnation in their real estate market, and it's good to be in a community like Santa Clarita where I'm seeing the growth starting to come back. I'm seeing the investment starting to come back. I'm seeing companies hire. That makes me feel much, much better about the world that we live in today, and certainly in terms of the potential that is here in Santa Clarita Valley, I think is incredibly strong. This is a community that was built for entrepreneurs and business owners and people that really want to live that American dream. And it's a good opportunity for me to use my talents and background in terms of helping to bring new companies to the area and work with those companies that are already here to make them just that much more successful. I think we can continue to point to a number of examples. Obviously, College of the Canyons sees the need to continue to invest in programs that train that next generation of employee base out here. They're getting ready to open their Applied Technology Center right here in Canyon Country, and I think that really is an indicator of that we need to continue to invest in those types of projects that prepare for the turnaround in the economy here. And I think the EDC is another one of those investments. And certainly from a standpoint of working with you as the community, we want to hear your thoughts about the future and what we could be doing in terms of driving new businesses and new economic activity in the area. That's really what I'm here about today. As much as I love being in front of you guys, it's really your comments and thoughts that I want to take back to my boss and my board of directors and share with them about how the people that are right here in the Canyon Country community feel about things and what we could be doing to better assist them. So I know I'm short and sweet, but I want to open up to questions because this is what I'm here for.
Okay, there's several things that I'm concerned about.
Sure.
We were in business a lot of years on the other side of town, and what was happening is the city, when people would come into the city to find out if they could have a business here, the Newhall Land and Farming folks were pushing them all around the west side. All those businesses that were even interested in this area were told, well, you'll get a better response over there. And we would like to see, look, we finally got a shopping center, but it's taken forever, and Newhall Land and Farming fought that too. The other thing, though, is a few years ago I went for jury duty, and there were 2 gentlemen that were waiting to be called, and they were discussing Santa Clarita. Now, this is really important. Somehow, they both wanted to have a business here, but they said the rents were too high. Now, that's something that you should really be looking at. What can be done about these rents too high? Because these folks could not come into our valley because they said they couldn't afford to.
Yeah, a couple things I really can't address. I mean, the way this community has developed is definitely unique, and the fact that part of it was a master planned development and a very large one. New Holland, just from what I know, was very influential in their business attraction campaign, and I can't really comment on what they did or did not do, but I can definitely agree with the fact that within that master plan that built out a very nice a couple of nice industrial parks that made it very, very easy for business attraction. Whereas on this side of the valley, it's been a much more organic growth. I can tell you from my standpoint, we don't really care where that business goes. If they're interested in coming here, we want to find what works best for them. And seeing as how we are tasked by both the city and the county to kind of be that point of contact rather than New Holland, that we're going to make every effort to accommodate those businesses where they best fit. And there are industrial and commercial spaces all throughout the valley, and they have each have their pros and cons, and it's really more about what the business is going to need from a standpoint of access and square footage, and there's a lot of things we can go on and on about in terms of what it takes to accommodate that business, but that's really what it's going to be about. We don't really have a prerogative from a standpoint of, while New Holland does have a seat on our board, they are just one vote, and at the end of the day, they have very little influence in terms of our day-to-day operations of how we work with the businesses that we are attracting here and where those businesses end up and locate. So that is what it is. From a standpoint of rents are too high, I would say that we do run an interesting situation here in the fact that Santa Clarita is not the cheapest place to do business. It's just not. But it is one of the nicest places to do business. And so there is that kind of live-work balance that we talk about. Most of the companies that you see, and I know that I go out and talk to, are thrilled with living and working here in Santa Clarita because they can live and work here in Santa Clarita. They could probably find a building much, much cheaper in Chatsworth, but I don't think they want to live in Chatsworth. They want to live where they work. And so it's about really selling that total picture. People are only going to count by dollars and cents. Santa Clarita is probably not the place you want to be. Dollars and cents is your main concern. You can go to the Inland Empire, you can go to Ridgecrest. Santa Clarita is really about trying to build that live-work balance.
Good evening. Josh, thank you for coming out this evening. My name is Tim Ben Boydson. I'm a former city councilman. And my question was regard to the metrics of success that were called about when the Economic Development Corporation was first formed, and there were those of us who were at the council meeting, and some of us rather surprised that it flew through, and the city donated a couple $100,000, I believe, and continues to donate some monies to the organization. And at that time, I remember the city manager and a couple of the council people assuring the public, and the people here in Canyon Country are very sensitive to this because we've been told many times that our projects are on hold here out at this end of the valley because of the economics. And you know, the economics are what they are. So they talked about having a metric for success. In other words, they said, you're going to come back and tell us how many, jobs you brought to the valley. And so I'm kind of wondering whether that matrix of success has been established. And really the part about the retention of jobs, be it one party or the other, any politician loves to stand up and talk about, I saved a million jobs. But quite honestly, saving a job is up for discussion. But when there's a brand new job and a company move, that's easy to count. So I guess my question to you is, has the metric for success been established, and how many jobs have you guys brought here in the last year that the taxpayers have helped do? Because we know that's your job. We know that Economic development is a great thing when it works, and we know that's why you were hired. So how are you doing? How many jobs have we created last year?
All right. That's a big question there. And let me preface this by the fact that saying that the Economic Development Corporation in and of itself does not create jobs. We work with businesses who create jobs. And from that standpoint, we can't encourage businesses to create jobs out of thin air. So everything is a process. And from a standpoint of really what we've been working on, it's only been since really the beginning of this year that we've got the organization up and running. We've got the staff. We have the materials that we need. We are working the attraction and retention programs. I wish it was much more instantaneous. Believe me, coming from the Antelope Valley, if we could create jobs any faster here in the Santa Clarita Valley, that's only a good thing for everybody in Southern California. To answer your question, as simple as it's been, we worked with 7 companies, and we've created or retained, just for the fact that it's a little bit of a broad term, and I can get into the details of that, about 500 jobs. And so I know that doesn't sound like a lot of companies, and that doesn't sound like a lot of jobs, but...
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but could you just break that down for everyone? Just tell us how many are retained and how many are being created?
Sure. And I hate getting into this quotation stuff. In terms of jobs created, it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 or 60 jobs. So, and I know you guys laugh, but we're just getting started.
50 or 60 jobs, if they pay, $200,000 a piece,
yeah.
You only invested a couple $100,000 in taxpayer money. That's a great return. Okay, so the details are the things that are important. So that's, bear with me. I just wanted to know because our government had told us at the time that there would be a metric of success.
And there has been. In addition to what you've got for your money, you've got a approved enterprise zone that was approximately $120,000 that came out of the EDC's pocket. You've got works. We've been working with one of our local companies who's paying $50,000 for the expansion of your foreign trade zone out here. We took on some marketing programs that the city was working on. That's running up a nice bill of about $24,000 a year. We took on the economic indicators data collection. That's another $12,000 to $15,000 a year that we've taken on. So it's not like the money was just raining down in terms of there was no stipulations. There are definitely metrics, and I would say yes, we have not met them. I'm the first one to say that we're working on it. We're getting out there.
Thank you for your honesty.
And at the end of the day, we do have a pipeline of approximately 30 companies that are interested in the Santa Clarita Valley. We are working with them on a weekly, if not daily basis in terms of ensuring that everything that we can do to bring those companies here happens. We want the EDC to be successful. We want the Valley to be successful. By no means is what we're doing going to be unprofitable when we get done.
Hi, Josh.
Yes.
You and I talked a little bit before the meeting, Bertha Gonzalez, but I did hear you say that you are the Valley-wide marketers.
Correct.
Okay, so if you take anything away from meeting with this group, at least from me, the message I want you to receive is that we need advocacy on the part of the Canyon Country area for those jobs. I understand that it's an entire valley, but the preponderance of jobs is on the other side. The ones that are on this side are basically service jobs. We need better jobs. We have the Plaza at Golden Valley Ranch, which has a lot of vacancies. We have Center Point, which has a lot of vacancies. We have a medical building that's been approved at Sierra and Princesa. Those will need to be filled. The same thing with the Backers Project at Lost Canyon, Canyon something or other. Thank you, Vista Canyon Ranch. That will need to have those buildings filled. So we need your group and all of the other groups out here that are tasked with finding businesses to come here to put an extra emphasis on the Canyon Country area. We need jobs over here. Thank you.
Right there with you. And from the standpoint of the jobs that we're looking at bringing to the area and trying to create in this area, we're talking about primary sector jobs. We know that at the end of the day, if we can get those primary sector jobs, the secondary sector, the service jobs will come. And so that's what we're going out there. We're talking to, defense contractors and biotech firms and information technology firms, because those are the jobs that support the rest of the community. And so we definitely, I'm hearing you loud and clear, and from a standpoint of trying to bring those jobs in so that we can balance things out. I know that we need more industry on this side of the valley. Our kind of ace in the hole is we're really working hard with Disney. We're hoping that project really changes the face of this side of the valley in terms of commercial and industrial development. We're also working with the other developers that are out here. The people that put together Centerpoint we're working with, Jim Backer's group we're working with. Like I said, we want everybody's project to be as successful as it can be. And we know that if we start laying the groundwork today, that when that market turns around, that we'll be the benefactor of it.
I have a question too. What about the older workers? There's so many people who have been laid off in their mid-40s, 50s, and 60s who can't get jobs. Is the EDC going to help in telling the companies to hire the people who are here, who are older, who have a lot of experience, and not just entry-level jobs?
At the end of the day, I understand the plight from a standpoint of unemployment. I wish there was jobs for everybody. We work with companies. We offer the services that are here locally in terms of trying to get these firms to hire locally, use local labor, use local expertise. It's nothing that we can really force upon them, but certainly it's something that we emphasize. I know that's not a complete answer to your question, but we do work hard to get people to understand that there is a knowledge base and an expertise base that already exists here, and they should take advantage of that.
All right. Oh, are we done? Can I speak? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Al. I didn't know. The brochure says that employers can get up to about $37,000 possible state tax credits for qualified employees hired.
Correct.
So just as the lady says here, you've got older workforce that a lot of people laid off. And do they qualify? They've been laid off. Their businesses have closed. They're unemployed now.
Yes.
Do they qualify as qualified for this tax credit?
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of criteria that are on that list, but yes, somebody who falls, if they live in a targeted employment area, that's an area that has a high unemployment rate, or higher than the rest of the community or rest of the area. Yes, those people qualify. It's a bigger incentive for businesses to hire those people. Okay, and the other thing is, when Disney opens, are they going to give priority for our citizens to get first dibs at being looked at for being hired, or are they going to be bringing people out from Los Angeles and recruiting out there? We've not got that far along in the process. At this point, they're starting to go through the EIR process. We've not started talking how the jobs are going to be filled. My guess is it's probably going to be a mix of both. Certainly there is a level of expertise in the entertainment industry that we couldn't fill here. Not to say that we don't have experienced people, but unemployed people who have worked in the industry whose businesses have closed because of the stuff they did was outsourced to Canada. They could do it digitally, rather than, right? Yeah. And the other thing is these new 50, 60 jobs that have been created, or however many they've been created, what's the kind of average salary for those? Average salary, I would be misquoting if I gave it to you. I'd have to go back and look. I do know that they are not menial task jobs. They're not. We didn't bring a McDonald's here. We brought a service company that works with commercial properties. So, yeah.
Well, let's give Josh a big hand.